Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Koop'd podcast, the podcast that unfortunately peaked in high school. My name is Koopa, folks, and every other week, I haven't quite decided yet, I sit down with one of my friends and we talk about all the happenings of how we've been spending our times inside. And I got a special treat for you guys this week, because I'm sitting down with somebody who actually doesn't know me from the gaming scape. They knew me as a real person, which is weird.
So, that is how I know you. Yes, that's definitely true.
That is very true. So, folks, we're gonna be getting into it here. I am here with one of my longest running friends. So long, in fact, that we went to prom together. My friend Amanda Nardone. Hey, Amanda, how are you?
Hey, oh my God, hey, thanks for having me.
I know this is so weird, and I'm sure it's just as weird for you to have seen me. Because we've known each other for a long time. I think we're encroaching on a decade of friendship, which is crazy.
I know. We go back really far, and it's so funny too because I follow you on Twitter and everything, so I know that you're all professional and shit with your gaming stuff and whatever. But I was wondering, do they know your real name? Can I call you by your real name?
No, you can use my government. That's fine. Most
Perfect,
I actually
perfect.
prefer. It's funny because most of my the people that I've met as being the moniker Koopa, most of my friends, they call me by my real name because it's weird otherwise.
Okay, yeah. So I was thinking about calling you that, and I'm like, oh, it just feels so wrong. You're Kyle.
No, I am. Please don't call me Koopa. It's weird.
Okay, good deal. That works for me.
So we've known each other for a long time, and I was actually thinking about this because I've recorded 2 episodes of this so far. Only one of them is live right now, but I asked my 2 other guests, our history with our friendship, and for me, it was pretty easy because they were pretty fresh in my mind. But I keep trying to think of when we really became friends, and I was trying to pinpoint it, and I don't know if you have a more a more collective memory than I do, because I'm old, and that they say the first thing you lose is your mind. So do you remember when we first actually became friends?
No, it's so funny. Right before we started recording, I was like, he's probably going to ask me when we started becoming friends, and I cannot pinpoint when. I think we met through other friends, and it just slowly built. But I can't think of one moment, one instance where we hung out. We were like, oh yeah, let's be friends. Except for the real starting point was your senior prom, and then after that we were like, oh yeah, we're boys.
Yeah. So it's a great story. I won't tell all of it because I don't want to. But it was my senior prom, and I needed a last minute date, and I was like, dang, who do I know that will be willing to drop everything on a dime's notice and go to prom with me? And I was like, oh, that's sick. I'll just ask Amanda. And that was
my sophomore ass was absolutely sign me up.
I forgot. I keep forgetting that I always forget how old you are sometimes because we're adults now. So
no, wait, how old are you?
I'm 26.
Okay, I'm 24. It's only 2 years. That's not that crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I think we are getting close to. I think next year will be the decade mark, which is insane.
Yeah, it really is. And it's so funny too because I was thinking about it just before we started recording too. I was like there's a huge difference between being 22 and being 23. And I feel now that I've passed even 23, I feel genuinely old. And once you pass 22, it's there are no more songs that celebrate how old you're turning. No one can send you a YouTube link of a song that has your age in it, and that's true age in my opinion.
Well, there is one song, but it's not a very flattering song because they'll send you "What's My Age Again" by Blink-182, and the
True.
sad
And
truth
then
is
that's
that
the end of the line.
Yeah, there is one song by a band called The Wonder Years that I like. They have a song called "Passing Through a Screen Door," and in one of the lines in the bridge, it says, "Jesus Christ, I'm 26." So when I got to the ripe age of 26, which in my field is getting on the older side, which makes you feel awful, but also I'm still young and cool because I have a podcast. But
Absolutely.
That made me feel a certain way.
After 22, the songs about your age start getting really depressing. It's not I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22. It's fuck, I'm 23,
I mean, it feels that way sometimes, but I want to go back to prom really quick because I was just thinking about this, and this is a fun Like, I feel like this happens, like, it's a weird social media thing that I noticed that, like, every year around, like, prom time, everybody just like, oh, let's all post our prom pictures. And I obviously have no, qualms about doing that because A, we took the pictures in my backyard, flex. And B, I was reminded of a great story the other day when I was talking to my girlfriend about the first time. So, fun fact, when we drove to prom together, it was the first time I'd like driven with another person, like that like wasn't just myself, I'm pretty sure,
Oh my
which is
God.
crazy. And I remember vividly one of my favorite memories of this day was your grandfather. I believe he was just like, make sure you take good care of my granddaughter. And I he looked like pretty serious about it, and I was like, oh boy, this is
Oh my God, man. He was a scary man. That he did not mess around at all. I don't doubt for a second that he like stared deep into your eyes and shook your hand with like all of his might and was probably like, do not even think about it. Like,
no hesitation at all. There was no break in his voice. Like he was serious, and I'm like, oh brother.
it's so funny. I remember you telling me that too, and I was like, yeah, that sounds on brand for him.
So this is another fun idea that I've had, obviously, because it's really refreshing to talk to someone that like, I know with like a little bit more history than just the fact that I am a D-list nerd celebrity on the internet, and that's even me like being like frank about it. And I saw this great thing on the internet the other day, and I wanted to ask you this. There was a trend going around of people being like, what was the story that went around your high school? Like, what was the story? And I tried thinking of a couple because we obviously went to the same high school together. Is there anything that comes to mind that was just like, what was your like big, like, oh, my school did like X thing?
Oh, at VHS, let me think. If we're talking drama, there was plenty of that. Like, do you remember how dramatic our high school experience was?
Yes.
Like, oh my God. There was some moments where it was like straight out of Skins in like the worst way, but like no one really knew why. Like we were just this small town with like so much drama. I don't really know why. But
Yeah.
I mean, there was the instance. This is all like a little bit sensitive, but like there's this instance where our math teacher was caught beating up his wife or something, and that was like sketchy. Remember that?
Oh God, I forgot about that. Also, paying no attention to the phone that's ringing in the background right now. It's fine.
Oh, I didn't even hear it. You're good. But
All right, cool.
yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy. Like stupid. Like I don't know. Like a whole bunch of stories about drugs. Like the amount of just sexual promiscuity that went down
Yeah.
at PHS. Like it was kind of crazy. What story do you think of in your head when you think of that?
So I think of a really long week. Because this like sits vividly with me. Hold on one second. So I had to get my thoughts together for a second. So there was one story that came to mind. I think when I was a freshman, there within the span of a week, there was a fire that was started in the downstairs bathroom. Somebody threw a cigarette out in the trash, and
Yes.
yeah, and it lit like the downstairs bathroom on fire, and it took until I was maybe like, I think there was maybe like 3 weeks left of my senior year before that bathroom was like operational again because it
Oh my
like
God.
scorched
After
to
that
the ground.
happened, I was still in middle school when that happened, but I heard about it obviously. And when I got to high school, when there was one, do you remember having one bathroom for the entire school
Yes, it was
because,
terrible.
because of that?
Yeah, and it was
It was
always like
terrible.
upstairs.
Yes, it was awful, and we had to sign in and out of it for this. There was one bathroom with what, two stalls in it. I know the girls' room only had two stalls for the entire school because someone decided to put a cigarette out on a roll of toilet paper like 3 years prior, and everyone was screwed over for like 5 years after that.
Yeah, it was awful. I remember that like we had a fire drill and like I always like did this thing in my head when we had fire drills at school where they're like, "Oh, you have to have 2 fire drills a month." And like I think we had already had like our 2 fire drills that month, and then the fire alarms went off, and I'm just like, "Oh, this is real. This is happening.
Oh my God.
It's actually
And
happening."
fire drills, we had so many fire drills. We had so many bomb scares. Do you remember hiding out on, not hiding, but like standing out on the bleachers waiting for the fire department to come to clear the school like multiple times?
Yes, I have vivid memories of that. And it's funny, the thing with the fire is that they didn't even like send us all, like they weren't going to send us home because the bathroom got scorched down. they sent us home because smoke got into the cafeteria and like got onto the food. And I think like state law requires that like you must feed like students if they're in your premises for at least like 4 hours a day or something like that. So they were like, "Oh, we can't feed you guys, so you guys can just go home." And I
Oh
was
my
like,
God.
"Oh,
Yeah,
sick."
that sounds very on brand for Bhutan. Just to be
Yeah,
like, actually, this is too complicated. Everyone just leave. I know you had an education to get today, but yeah, maybe
yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah. That happened. I think that same week there was like someone was like trying to like instigate like a race war rumor, which was really weird. Like it
Oh
was
my God.
Yeah, it was really stupid. There was like cops in the cafeteria for like a few weeks because of what happened, and like this one kid was just got like super like up in this like security guard's face, and he just is like, "Dude, just go to the principal's office." Like
Oh my God.
it was
There
bad.
was there was one year we had a I think our my math teacher or something like had maternity leave and she went away for a few months. So we got a brand new teacher. And the students at our school were so ruthless that it was like her trial period for this job, and she was in there for maybe a week, and the principal came in to just like see how she was doing. And long story short, all the students in my class were so terrible to her that she got fired the next day.
Oh my god, that's
Yeah.
terrible.
No, our school was like, let's just like those of you listening, like let's just say our school didn't prioritize learning first. Like
No, no, they did not.
It was like it was like number 1, make sure that no one's killing each other. Number 2, maybe learn something.
Yeah, it was a time. I there's like I could probably feel like a whole like 5 hour podcast about like what going to our high school was like, and for like it's for like maybe like the handful of people that I like still communicate with, like from people we went to high school with, like I'm sure they would appreciate it. Um, but there's a couple other things I wanted to ask you. So obviously we both hail from a small town, a relatively small town in New Jersey.
Mhm.
Um, and you're one of my favorite people because you are so like you you really just kind of flew by the seat of your pants for a while. It feels like where you're just like, yeah. I remember us talking about this, and you're like, yeah, like I don't know if I want to go to like college right away. I might want to do this. I might want to do that. So like you've lived in a couple different places. You've worn a couple different hats. What's like what's the favorite your favorite place that you've been since you've been like moved out of your small town area?
Oh, okay. Well, it's let's see. I moved out of my of our hometown in 2018 to like a half an hour away to my apartment in East Rutherford, and that apartment was as a like a 20 something year old who like hardly had any money to their name and was still in college. That apartment was far too nice for me to be in. Like I didn't deserve that apartment. I got really lucky through like a college housing page on Facebook, and like that apartment had this massive balcony. I had like my own bathroom. It was a huge bedroom with wood floors. And like that place was really lit. I loved that place. But in terms of my favorite place that I've been over the past few years, it's probably Tampa, Florida. I lived in Orlando for a little bit. I went down there to work for Disney just because I had graduated college and I was like, I don't necessarily want to immediately get a big girl job. I want to kind of fuck around for a year. So there was the option to work for Disney World, which is what both my sisters did. So I was like, yeah, screw it. My sister lives down in Orlando. I can just go down there, hang out with her, work for Disney, whatever. So I did that, and that ended, and I ended up getting a really good job in Tampa. So I got an apartment down there, and that was the first time I had really lived completely on my own, just like left to completely my own devices. Like it was up to me to pay rent, go grocery shopping, buy everything for myself. I was completely alone, and even like the really good friends that I had made in Orlando were still like an hour and a half away from me. So obviously I would drive and see them, but the most part, like I was quarantined alone in Tampa. And that sounds like a really sad thing. It's like, oh, you're all alone. Like you can't really hang out with people because, of the pandemic, whatever. But I was eating it up. Like I was thriving, bitch. Like I would just spend all day well, I would work. And then when work would end, I would have a glass of wine, turn on music, like do my makeup, just absolutely vibe in my own room alone, and then do it all over again the next day. And I was only there for about 3 months because it was just a really short-term lease and it was a short-term job. But I loved Tampa. Like, it was a great experience. I'm so glad I moved there.
Yeah, I forget like the journey of you becoming Florida woman was like very fun to watch from afar because like from a lot of the stories that like you've told me is that like Florida is like just as insane as it sounds. And I'll get back to that in a bit. But I actually completely forgot for a hot second about this Disney thing. So like do you want to talk a little bit more about what your working at Disney experience was because people are going to hear that and they're going to be like, "Yo, what?" Like
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. So everyone knows about the Disney College program probably. If you don't, it's, you go down, you're a slave to the Disney Corporation. They pay you less than all their other workers because you're quote unquote internship. But so I did that, and my job, so it was honestly, it sounds shitty, but I'm not like a diehard Disney person. I did this program because it was an easy way to get my foot in the door to like, being independent and being on my own. So like they were offering me a job and an apartment all in one. And I was like, sounds great. I didn't go there because I was like, I love Disney. I wanted to hang out with Mickey Mouse every day. So, so what happened was I got a, like, as far as these jobs go that you can like get placed in, I got the absolute shittiest job possible. But as far as that goes, it was lucky because if someone else who was really excited about going to Disney and working for Disney got this, they would be really disappointed. But for me, I really didn't care, so it was fine. But I was a custodian at Coronado Springs Resort, which is actually where the NBA just was training. So when I saw them like training in the big convention centers, I was like, oh, I fucking swept that every day of my life for the past year. But so I was a custodian there, and I cleaned bathrooms, I mopped floors, I emptied garbage cans, I scrubbed toilets for Disney World, and that was essentially what I did for, how long was that? Like 5 months.
I think
And
so, yeah.
it was about 5 months. I was in Orlando, and I consider myself really lucky to have been placed in that position because, again, like, I feel like if I got placed in one of the parks or something, it would have been wasted on me because I would have been like, oh, my feet are tired. So like, I met great people at Coronado. Like, I loved all of them. My coworkers were so great, and like I met one of my best friends there. He worked at the concession stand by the pool at Coronado. So it was a great experience. Definitely not like the quintessential Disney World experience that everybody kind of wishes for when they get the internship, but I loved it regardless, and it was a great foot in the door to like have my own apartment down there and like kind of be independent and be on my own. So yeah, that's what I did for like 5 months, and it was an interesting experience.
That's awesome. Like it's funny you say that you're not a big Disney person, but yet you spent 5 months acting out the first half of Cinderella for what it felt like. You're just cleaning up after rich white people all day. It feels like
That's essentially exactly what it was, except there was no fairy godmother, and I never got to wear a dress or anything. I just had these really ugly uniforms that I wore every day.
your
And
uniform
then
was
once
pretty ugly. I'm not gonna front.
it was so ugly. We would call ourselves like the sushi rolls, like the salmon rolls, because it was these dark green pants, like the color of seaweed, and these obnoxious like orange peach colored shirts with like a big white stripe down the middle. And it didn't go along with the theme of the hotel at all, like not even remotely. The theme of our hotel was like Spain and like Latin American countries, and for some reason I looked like a literal salmon roll, and it didn't really, or like an inmate, really. It really didn't make any sense. We just called ourselves the inmates, or like the salmon rolls, because we looked ridiculous. And like, I feel like that's just kind of a cornerstone of working for Disney though too. And like, some people are really going to hate on me for talking badly about Disney, but like, it's this massive corporation where like you kind of have to relinquish all of your dignity to work for them, so whatever. But that's kind of like that's a trend when it comes to working for Disney. It's like, you're going to work for Disney, you're going to get paid peanuts, and you're going to look stupid while you do it. And that's kind of exactly what I did. But it was a cool experience overall. I can't shit on it too much. I had a lot of fun.
Is that going to stop me from giving my money to the Big Mouse every month so I can watch The Mandalorian? Probably not, but it's fine.
Absolutely not, because I do the same. So,
So we can get into some more of that in a bit, but we were just talking about how, we've known each other for a while, but we haven't had much of an opportunity to like catch up because you did just move back home for a spell. in the midst of a pandemic, mind you. So Godspeed to you. That's a lot to have to do, especially coming all the way from Florida back to like little old New Jersey, which is crazy. So I just wanted to ask you how how are you? Like what are you up to now that you're back home in the midst of a global health crisis?
I'm good. Honestly, it's been like a really really crazy year. I've lived in like three different places the past, not less than a year. I went from Orlando to Tampa. Now I'm up at my sister's house near Trenton because I am going to move to Arlington, Virginia, and right next to DC within the next, week or so to live. Um, it's a childhood friend. I don't know if I should say names, but like I'm gonna move in with my childhood friend there. She has an empty room for me. I'm very excited to move there, but I'm gonna be in the DC area within the next week. So I'll have gone from New Jersey to Orlando to Tampa to Trenton to DC within the past like year. So it's a lot.
Wow, yeah, that is a lot. Like you're very you're very well traveled, and and it's fun because like you've just lived such this adventurous lifestyle. Like I love like it's just because you're obviously one of my friends, and like I like seeing my friends like do interesting things with their times. Like I'm sure the same feeling that you've had seeing me like as this weird nerd adult on Twitter is the same like feeling that
My
I
God,
get.
yes.
Yeah, like it's the same feeling that I get. Cause I'm just like, yo, like she's working for Disney. She might have single handedly turned Georgia to vote blue. Like there's I'm planting seeds because I've always thought that like you've taken such an interesting path, and like that's awesome.
The key is to just absolutely have no idea what you're doing.
Great, because I still don't know what the hell I'm doing.
But yeah, I forgot to say that about Tampa too. I had that job working as a voter turnout rep, and I called Georgia, and that's like one of my biggest accomplishments to date, I believe, because when I saw that Georgia was blue, I like almost cried. I was like, I did that. Oh my God. Like me and my coworkers, we did that. But yeah, that was my job in Tampa. And it's just like it's been kind of a I spent so much time, like, especially in undergrad, because I couldn't really go away for school or anything. I spent so much time in undergrad, wishing I could just like put myself out there and do shit. And now that I finished, I graduated, and I didn't necessarily have a plan, but I just decided to go out and kind of wing it and see what I experience in the meantime. That's kind of just like the vibe I've been on. Like just go out there, even though you don't have a plan, at least be doing something other than nothing. So that's what I've been doing. And it's been really fun. Lots of cool experiences, met a lot of cool people. And there's more to come too. So that's exciting. Yeah.
No, I love that, and it's awesome. So I did send you the same list of questions that I sent all my guests because at its core, as much as I like to just like trot around on the internet and and tweet about things that don't matter. This is the pop culture podcast that I've started because obviously, like you even said it yourself, you just vibe out in your room for hours upon hours in a day,
Oh yeah.
just chilling out, max, relaxing out, cool. So, I wanted to ask you a question. What's something that you've like, and it'll be pretty like rigorous. What's something that you've watched in your extended time staying inside, like that like really like sunk you in? Like, what's a piece of media that you really enjoyed?
So recently, I want to say within the past like 3 months, I have absolutely just enveloped myself in the world of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Ooh, okay.
Like I have watched every season. I'm currently rewatching the season right now because I'm obsessed with it. It is so much fun, and I swear to God, Kyle, like if you ever like need a confidence boost, all you have to do is watch drag queens, and it's like, oh right, I'm that bitch. Like it's so simple. I love them so much. My favorite is Katya. Shout out Katya. I'm obsessed with her. I want her to be my mother. Um, but that's what I've been watching almost like exclusively just so that you get to know like the culture and everything because even just within the show like there's a whole vocabulary list that like you need to know before you start watching it. Like I don't know if you've ever watched it. Have you watched the show?
So I've seen like maybe like episodes when I'm like at home with my mom because she'll like scroll through it. I know that my girlfriend like swears by it. It's like it's a show that she really likes. I like from what I've seen, like whether it be from like clip shows or like other stuff online, like It feels up my alley. I love reality TV, so like it's always something that like it's one of my like various like comfort things when I just want to just like sit down and not think for like 45 minutes to an hour.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And like I'll be the first to like call myself out when it comes to like the media that I watch when it comes to kind of just chilling. And 99.9% of the time, the media that I choose to just kind of zone out on is absolute trash. And like YouTube videos, like I will watch people like unbox shit while I'm just like zoning out eating popcorn. Like I just watch mind numbing shit because like I think so much during the day. I don't want to think while I'm during my leisure time, you know? So RuPaul's Drag Race, not that it's like mindless and stupid, like it's very smart and thought out, but like it's just the pinnacle of reality TV in a sense that like there's just like you know manufactured drama and like just things that didn't even need to be in there. The pun jokes are so wacky and like that's why I love it. It's just kind of entirely chaotic, but it's in the funnest way possible. I love it so much.
And it's a competition show, right? Like there's a prize at the end of this.
Yeah, they win like $100,000 for becoming, the next Drag Race superstar or whatever. And like essentially, it's they do like challenges, and with every week there's a challenge and a runway. So they have to complete a challenge, whether it's like a skit or like doing a commercial or something, and then they put on this crazy runway outfit, whether it's like there's some theme to it. The one that I just watched is like bearded lady, so they had to look as feminine as possible but also with a beard on. And
That's
like
fantastic.
and it's just so chaotic, but it's so fun to watch. I highly recommend it. And on top of that, like if you ever need a confidence boost, literally all you have to do is embody the energy of a drag queen and you're set. Like
I'm here for that. And I love that answer because like I said, one of my many comfort things is is reality television. And one of my favorite shows, and if you follow me on Twitter, you know that my brand only has like 5 or 6 like tent poles to it, which is like, anime, Sonic the Hedgehog, Super Smash Brothers, and Survivor, because
yes.
Survivor is like one of my favorite shows of all time. And I recently, I think it was about a year ago. So if you don't know the context of Survivor, it's a CBS reality show. It drops like 16 to 20 people on a deserted island for 39 days, and whoever's the last person standing on the island like gets $1 million. It's been airing since it has 40 seasons, and it's been airing since the year 2000. And it in the beginning of 2020, like back I think it just wrapped up its 40th season like back in this past May. And when they announced the season ahead of time, I went on a journey, Amanda. I watched. There was about 32 seasons that I hadn't seen in a while, and I watched all of them over the course of a year. And
Oh my god.
yeah,
When you can like binge something like that, that is the best.
yeah,
The best. That's a sign of a really great show.
no, it was not all of it was great, but it was entertaining at the very least. Like that might have been like the hardest binge I've like ever went on. Where like, I think what I did for months at a time was just like I like ate, I slept, I went to work, and I watched Survivor, and like that's it, and it was awesome.
Yeah, reality TV is great like that. Like again, like obviously I watch better shit than reality TV, but there's something special about just how kind of shitty reality TV is. It just kind of it's comforting.
No, it is. So like Survivor was like a fun watch for me while that technically wasn't in quarantine, but like I definitely wrapped it up in quarantine. And they actually put 2 of their seasons on Netflix, which is really cool because for the longest time their content had been locked behind like CBS All Access, which is like kind of crappy because it's another streaming service you have to pay for. But one of my favorite things that I've seen while I've been home myself is that me and my girlfriend are obsessed with watching dating shows. We love watching like crappy like reality TV shows where like you're some.
I was hoping you would say that.
Yeah, so like I remember in the beginning of the year we've watched 3 of them so far while we've been like like in quarantine together because there were like various times where like you know, we both had to quarantine away from each other. She was away, like, visiting family for, like, a month. So, like, we needed something to watch, like, while we were, like, away from each other. And, like, we didn't want to watch anything that would make us have to think. We just wanted to, like you said, just, like, kind of watch mind-numbing stuff. And nothing is more mind-numbing than watching, like, people fall in love on a reality show. Like, it's so stupid. So, the first one we watched was Love is Blind. It's just the Netflix vehicle. The concept of the show is that these people, like, they are, like, trying to find, like, their life partners. They're trying to get married. The concept of the show is that you're supposed to get married within a week of meeting your partner. And the gimmick is that you don't meet them until you, like, propose to them. So, like, you're, like, communicating with this person, like, behind a wall, and you don't know what they look like. You only know what they sound like. The results
I watched the first few episodes of that, and, like, I remember thinking, I mean, I lived with my sister, like, during this whatever time that came out, so she was not into it, so I didn't get to watch more of it, but I watched the first few episodes, and I was like, these people are really just in opposite rooms, and they're gonna end up proposing to each other, and that's the entire premise of this show. It was crazy.
Yeah. The results were fantastic. There's this there's this one chick, there's always that, like, one person on a reality, like, there's always a villain on a reality show, and, like, the villain on this season sucked, and it kind of set the mood for 2020 because she accidentally, like her cat accidentally, air quotes, like, drank out of her wine glass, and the collective communities were like, ooh, fuck this chick, like, that's no bueno.
Oh no, they canceled her because her cat drank out of her wine glass.
Yeah, it definitely looked like she was, like, doing it on purpose, but, like,
Oh,
it's,
she was. Oh yeah, fuck that then. That's
yeah,
stupid.
she's problematic. So that was one show we watched. We also watched Too Hot to Handle, which is another Netflix vehicle. And this
Oh
one,
my god.
yes, this one might have been, I don't know if you've seen this one before or not.
I know this one. Yes, I did not watch it because I was like, my brain. I don't know if my brain can handle that. But that is one I can't imagine the person who pitched this show and the group of people who were like, yeah, let's see if that's possible. Let's see if we can do that. Like, I can't imagine what that writers' room was like.
Yeah, so, like, if you haven't seen the show, again, it's also on Netflix. It might be the favorite of the three shows that I've watched because of how outlandish the concept is. But basically, they take, like, they take, I don't know, they're like 10 people, they put them on a deserted island in Fiji, and, like, the common denominator with these people is that they're all, like, addicted to dating apps, like, and they all, like, are, like, dumb, like, hot people that can't stop having sex. And the concept of the show is that there's $100,000 prize pool, and in order to, like, win the most amount of money possible for the group, you can't, like, kiss anybody, you can't have sex with anybody, like, they are foreboding you from engaging in sexual conduct, in order for you to win prize money. And the results were, oh my god, it was so bad and so funny, like,
I saw one clip of that show where, like, someone was mad at the other person, so they made out with each other just so that the other person lost money, or, like, the whole group lost money. And, like, that I can't imagine. Usually people watch shows like that, like, I don't know, like a Jersey Shore-esque show, to see people hook up, you know? Like, people, that's, like, a huge part of the show. So, like, I don't understand how they thought that it would be a good idea to make it so that they can't hook up, and it's, like, just a whole season of sexual frustration between, like, strangers, you know? I don't know, how did it go? Like, what ended up happening?
So it it was weird. So, like, a couple of people, like, left the island because they, like, couldn't find a connection or something like that, which is like the show didn't, like, eliminate anybody. Like, there wasn't, like, an elimination process like there is on, like, other reality shows. So, like, by the end, like, just for context, like, if you kiss somebody, it costs you $3,000 out of the prize pool. So, like, that's,
Oh my god.
yeah. So by the end of the show, I think the prize pool was like 50 grand. Like, people had broken enough of the rules where, like, half of the prize, like, almost, like, a good chunk of the prize money was just gone. Like, and
Okay, so they were in the house hooking up. It was just, like, at a cost.
yeah.
Okay,
And the thing
gotcha.
is, like, they all, like, but the thing that sucked about the show is that they all won. And, like, I watch a lot of reality television, so I am very aware of the game show tax, because there is a certain amount of tax money that comes out of the prize pool. on these reality shows. So like, for example, if you win $1 million on Survivor, you're really winning like $914,000 or something like that. So like you're not really. So I've thought about it. I'm just like there's like 10 people left on the show. So they're all after they're all taxed out, they're getting like bus fare or something like that. Like they're getting a good amount of money. But like it's also just like really? Like was it really worth it at the end to like do that to yourself and like I guess you get
Yeah,
like a
and
free...
now this is your legacy too. Like now this is what people know you for, and you made like $10,000 off of it.
Yeah, it was intense. And the last one that I watched, me and my girlfriend just watched the first season of Love Island on CBS. And that's like that's kind of like the same concept of like of Love Is Blind, except like it's like I don't know if it's because it's for like cable television, it's like inherently less sexual. And there actually is like an elimination process. Like, there's a group of people that show up on an island, they couple up, new people get introduced to the house, and there's a recoupling at the end of like every episode where like either whoever like the dominant number is like gets to like recouple, and whoever's left out in the cold gets eliminated. And then they there's a voting process from like viewers where like they vote on which couple is the best and which couple you want to see stay on the island until the winning couple gets $100,000. And it was cute. It was stupid. It's junk food. Like shows like this are just like so like because none of these people like last anyway, except if you're like that one couple from The Bachelor back in like 2005. Like
Yes.
like most of these people just like straight up just like don't last. But like it's a fun ride, and like if you're looking for like a fun way to just turn your brain off, and like you've already watched like I don't know all of the sitcoms and like the like the juggernaut like animated shows on Hulu or something. Like I highly recommend watching a dating show. You might be surprised.
Hell yeah. I'm on the same boat as like I love just how bubblegum it is. You just chew it and you spit it out, and like that's it. And that's the extent of the show. I actually watched I think it was called Listen to Your Heart, but it was a spin-off of The Bachelor just with music
Oh, I've heard about
involved in
this.
it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Kyle. It was the most mind-numbing thing I've ever watched in my entire life. Like there is pretty much they pair up into like I mean there's an even group of people even number of people, and they all pair up, and like someone's always not happy with who they end up with. Like some people are really hot, some people are really ugly, but the whole thing is like the whole thing is like they have to they're trying to fall in love through the power of music or something. So every week after they've been paired up, every week they like have to put on some sort of performance. And they had like kind of, I mean, I'm not saying like A-list, but they had like kind of significant celebrity judges. Like Kesha was on it once, and I swear to
Oh,
God,
wow.
she was stoned out of her mind. I could tell. But like, which I don't blame her, but she like they were like guest judges, and I can't stress to you how terrible they all were at music. Like, not only were they like all kind of just very blah people, like not really strong personalities on any of them, but the whole point of the show was that they were supposed to bond over music, and none of them were good at it. And it was honestly so fun to watch, because there was this one group who they got paired up, and this guy is just a grade A douchebag. Like you can tell he just like emulates it. And so this girl's really liking him. He's like feeling really indifferent because he wanted to be paired up with this other girl. And so they're all sitting in a group, maybe like 4 or 5 of them are sitting in a group. And this girl is like all cuddled up to this guy. He has his arm around her, and like she's kind of like laying on his shoulder, so she can't really see his face. And the girl next to him goes like, so is this girl who's like on your shoulder right now, is this the girl you wanted to be paired up with? And he literally has his arm around her, and he looks down at her to make sure she isn't looking, looks back at her and goes, nah.
Oh my God.
And it's like he was just, that's the entire show. That's like the entire show in a nutshell. Is just like these people are just kind of being thrown together and then make awkward music, and then they just get voted off because they suck. And that was the whole show. And it was mind numbing to watch. And then by the end of it, you're watching the last episode and you're like, what was the point of any of that? But when I tell you it's entertaining, it is really fucking entertaining.
I gotta say, like the Bachelor like extended universe is a strange place. Like I've maybe watched like one or two seasons of The Bachelor / Bachelorette, and that's mostly because I watched it with my mom and she made me. But like it's like the extended universe is like so strange. Like I know that I think they showed a Bachelor like 3 times a week or something like that. And they're like 2-hour episodes, and then there's Bachelor in Paradise, and then there's whatever the hell that was you just watched. Like, my God,
Yeah.
like,
No, The Bachelor is like some people really, really love it. I've never been able to get into it. The only reason I watched Listen to Your Heart was because as soon as I heard that there was music involved, I'm like, oh, this is gonna suck. This is gonna be so entertaining because it's gonna suck so bad. So I watched it. But like the regular Bachelor is like, uh, as much as you try to convince me that these people are really in love and like all those tears that they cry, it's like I'm really falling in love with all three of these men. It's like no, you're not. You just simply aren't. I'm sorry. Like I'm such a wet blanket when it comes to The Bachelor, but it's like she's lying. They're all lying.
I mean, that's essentially what it comes down to. Like, it's so bad. But yeah, like I said, there's actually a season of The Bachelor on Netflix right now. So if you're looking to turn your brain off and like eat some junk food, for a few hours, I highly recommend that. But so what else has been on your radar since you've been inside? It could be a new thing, an old thing. Like, what else have you been vibing with?
I'm currently actually like in the process of watching Schitt's Creek.
Ooh, okay,
And
nice.
did you watch Schitt's Creek?
I did. I finished it while I was in quarantine. That was another show me and my girlfriend watched together. So
Oh my God.
tell me what you think about it.
It's so good. Oh my God. It's just it's almost like the humor in it is a self-aware kind of humor, which I absolutely love. Like the writers know what they're doing when they write the jokes that they're writing. And like but at the same time it's like really smart because these characters have very specific personalities and like they kind of follow through very continuously with those character traits throughout the entire show from what I've seen so far. I'm on season 4, I believe. But like it's really intelligently written, which I appreciate. And at the same time, like I think every single episode I laugh out loud at least once. Like I think it's so funny. And Roland, oh my God, you know it's good acting when they come on the screen, when a character comes on the screen, and it's like a visceral hatred or like a visceral like disgust for that character. And that's how I feel about Roland. And he's whoever, I don't know the name of that actor, but he is so good at being so uncomfortable. Like he's the same guy that did My Germs in Scary Movie.
Oh
Did you remember
wow!
that scene?
Wow! How did I not put that together? Oh my
Yes.
God!
And tell me when you're watching that scene in Scary Movie, you're not like so repulsed. It's the same
That's
thing
the
with
guy with the
Roland on
hand?
Schitt's
Like that
Creek.
same
Yeah,
guy?
it's the guy with the hand.
Take my
Yeah.
strong hand? Oh my
Yes.
God! That's a
Yeah,
glass.
and like
That's a legitimate react. The glass in my brain just shattered and it's all over the floor.
oh
How did I
no,
not put that together? Oh my God!
actor is so good at being repulsive, and he just does that with Roland so well to a point where like he's just such a frustrating character, but you can't help but just be fascinated by how well he's written and how well that guy acts him out because you're a viewer on the other end of the screen, but like you're experiencing exactly what the other characters are experiencing when they interact with him, and it's just like frustration and disgust, and like it's so good. It's so well written. The same thing with Bob, the auto parts guy.
Yes.
He is infuriating to watch. Every time I watch it with my friend Johan all the time, and like every time he comes on the screen, we're like, oh, fucking Bob. Like, oh, there he is again. Like, because we hate him. Like, the characters are written so well that it's just so hard to not feel exactly the way that the other characters are feeling when you're interacting with them. And like, I don't know. I just think it's a really well written show. I love it so far. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm looking forward to it.
No, yeah, I just recently finished it like a couple of months ago when the last season came out, and I agree. Like, I've always heard back when like peak quarantine was hitting and like I didn't have a job, I was compiling a list of shows that like I was going to watch at some point, and that was high on a lot of people's lists. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. I want to watch this. And number one, I love Eugene Levy. Like Eugene Levy is just peak dry dad comedy, and like that is like a large portion of my brand in real life. So like
Yes,
it's
he's a genius. He's so good.
yeah, like he's great. Like sex is like warm apple pie is just like it's iconic. Like if you haven't seen any of the American Pie films, like
Yes,
please do
American
yourself
Pie.
a favor and do so. And like everyone on this cast is like so great. Like Catherine O'Hara, like oh my gosh, she's fantastic. Like her filmography speaks for itself. Like her
Mhm.
range, Nightmare Before
They work so
Christmas.
well together. They're such a good duo together. And the fact that works with his kids, like I didn't know this, but Twyla is his daughter.
Yeah, no, you don't realize that until you if you're like actually watching the credits. But like, yeah, both his son and his daughter act with him.
Yeah, and just the fact that they fucking named her Twyla again, that's just so funny. They picked the most obnoxious name to name this like random girl. I think it's so funny. And I haven't gotten to the episode because I've heard this like all over the internet, the episode where Alexis sings the Alexis song.
Oh,
I
brother.
haven't I haven't gotten there yet, but that's what I'm waiting for. I want to see that episode so badly. So I'm like trying to make my way through it as much as I can to see the fucking Alexis song because it seems so funny. I want to get there.
So like, just it's really funny you mentioned that like visceral reaction whenever like Roland and Bob walk on the screen. Like, I have that same like level of like uncomfortableness whenever like Annie Murphy's character is on screen. like, like
Yeah, she's written in a way that like it's so funny because when she's like interacting with her family, she's this obnoxious person. But when she's interacting with like guys or whatever, this actress, she completely turns it on. She becomes a different actress, and you can tell that she's playing into this character where you for me, I don't know if you know girls like this, but I know girls like that in real life where like they're this one person when they're talking to their family, their friends, but then as soon as they talk to guys or whatever, she's like this like different person. And
yep,
like I
yep.
think she just acts so well into the character. And yeah, she's another one that you get this reaction where it's just like kind of like your fight or flight goes off when Alexis starts talking.
Yeah, like Alexis is just like the way she like talks with her hands, like her mannerisms. Like I don't know what it is. It's just like it's like it's kind of like looking at a car accident, where it's just like I know that like this is making me feel a certain way, but like I cannot stop looking at it because she's just
Yeah,
so freaking funny, and
just
like
the way that she talks. David,
yeah, ew,
David,
David, like
oh
it's
David.
it's so funny, and like just like her arc as a character is like very interesting. Like she's just like because you've seen this concept done in like movies before where like rich family like moves to like shithole town and like they're broke. Like it's been done to death by like every studio known to man.
Right.
Like and sometimes in the case of like Disney they do it with like horses, which is funny. But like I just watched one of the horse sense. I forget what it was. I watched some decom the other week. It was weird.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
it
could go
was.
on and on about decoms.
Yeah, that'll we'll save that for we'll get there eventually. But
Yeah.
no, but like Schitt's Creek is awesome. Like all 6 seasons are out on Netflix. I highly recommend watching it. And like Dan, like everybody's great. Like Emily Hampshire or Hampshire, I think is how you pronounce her name. She plays Stevie. She's awesome. And the thing that's great about the show is that it's like so like it's very like inclusive and fun. Like Dan Levy's character is like his character is pansexual on the show, so like it's
Mhm.
very inclusive. And like the actress that plays Stevie, Emily Hampshire, is pansexual in real life. That I found out after like going through like the social media, and stuff like that. So like it's
I
very
love that. I didn't know that.
no, it's awesome. And like Dan Levy is just like so funny. Like his face just like it's just like his face when he's like disgusted is like absolutely amazing. And I've watched him in a couple of he was in a holiday movie I watched back in December. It was called Happiest Season. It was on Hulu. It was a great watch. It's with Kristen Stewart and Mackenzie Davis. I highly recommend watching it. It's a real star-studded cast, and Dan Levy is like in it for like maybe like 15 minutes, but it's like he's like coming off the bench and scoring like 30 points. Like he's so good in like the one role that he plays. But yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely a talented family. That's for sure.
so like I've always asked my guests like what their comfort thing is like while they're like in quarantine and stuff like that. So like outside of just like reality TV? Is there like is there something that like you like to like indulge yourself with, whether it be like, you know, it could be a show, a movie, anything like of the media variety? Like, is there something that's like, you know, you're having a day, it just you kind of like throw on to like, you know, get your spirits back up?
Oh, Avatar: The Last Airbender. I watched the entire thing
Oh, I was
over
not expecting
again.
that answer from you.
Yeah, I watched Avatar all over again during like real sad days of quarantine when everyone was like, "Fuck, we're really never getting out of the house." Like that's when I watched Avatar all over again. I was like, "I need this. I need that like homey childhood feeling right now." So I just turned it on and I watched that over and over again. So much so that like my sister got me an Avatar shirt for Christmas. Like, so that was a huge comfort thing because I was like, I don't know, you can't be sad when you're watching the Avatar. You really can't.
No, you can't. So, oh my, okay. So I was not expecting that from you because, like, for as long as we've been friends, and like this is me with like most of my friends that like I've known since I was like growing up. Like, I've always been like the token nerd in all of my friend groups. Like, I'm the one that watches. You know, I'm still playing like Pokemon and stuff. Like, I'm wearing, you know, T-shirts with like, you know, like cartoon characters on it and stuff like that. So like, I've always been like the token nerd in like every friend group I've been in. And for as long as we've known each other, like you've had your like your instances, but like you're very much a normal functioning member of society, which you know, which
Thank
is
you, I guess.
yeah. But like that's such like a like it's an interesting answer because like Avatar has always like walked that line of like, you know, like the anime kids love it. Like anyone that's like watched anime in the past, like they're always like, oh, like, you know, Avatar is great, and like it sparks a great debate of like whether it is an anime or not. But like that's a conversation for like a different podcast. But it's also been great at like introducing people that like don't watch a lot of like cartoons drawn in that art style, like to the medium, because like I know a bunch, like me and my friends rewatched it in quarantine when it went on Netflix. Um, my girlfriend just watched my girlfriend just watched it, and also just finished The Legend of Korra, which is the sequel series. If you haven't
Mhm.
seen it, it's fantastic. But I agree, Avatar is just like I I binge watched it in maybe like 4 or 5 days when like it was out again, because it's just like it's like you said, it's hard to be sad when like you're watching Avatar. It's such a great show. If you have like, you know, it's on Netflix. All 3 seasons are on Netflix.
Mhm.
If you're into like, you know, if you're into the hero's journey like type like story arc, then like I highly recommend it. And like even like I said, even if you're not like if the art style like turns you off about it, like I promise it's like it's not that bad. Like
But
even
yeah, I mean, as someone who doesn't watch a lot of anime, like I'm you know me, like you know how I love, you know, SpongeBob, and I'm a cartoon person. I'm a huge fan of cartoons. I watched all of Rick and Morty, SpongeBob. I love like Bob's Burgers. I'm obsessed with, and like if it's a good cartoon, I'm on board. And I mean, it's arguably one of the best cartoons that we grew up with. Like, it doesn't matter if you like anime or not. It's just a really great quality cartoon, and it's kind of irresistible. If you watch the first episode and you understand like where the show is going to go, like you're hooked after watching one episode. And I remember being little and watching because I didn't up until quarantine, I didn't watch them consecutively. It was always like when I was a kid, I would turn it on and I knew the premise of the show. So I would just like watch individual adventures, but like I never got to actually piece them all together. So when I was watching it in quarantine, I could actually like appreciate the cohesive story that was happening that I couldn't really appreciate when I was a child, A, because I didn't have the attention span, and B, just because I didn't have the time to sit down and watch all of it. So as an adult, I got to really appreciate, you know, it cohesively, but still brings you back to being like a little kid watching Nickelodeon and just like it's just so good. There's nothing bad about it. It's another quality cartoon that like it doesn't matter if you're into anime or not. It's great. It's just a really great show.
Yeah, no, you definitely hit the nail on the head. It's awesome, and like if you're, you know, someone that like follows the, you know, if you're someone that like, you know, reads deep into this like this stuff like I do, like when I watch something, I get like super hyper fixated on it. Like
Mm.
I need to learn like the lore. I need to know like everything else. Like I'm such like a deep diver when it comes to like the media that I like, because it encompasses a lot of like, you know, like I've always I've been saying this for like, you know, this will be the third episode straight. I'm a terrible consumer of media because I'm so busy, but like I like going but like the things that I have seen, like really encompass who I am as a person. And like Avatar is awesome. Like there's a character in it for everybody. Um, who's your favorite character in the show? Just for reference.
Oh, that's difficult. I mean, that's a hard question. I want to say Toph just because she's a little badass.
No,
Like
she's I agree. She's awesome.
like when she bends metal, it's like that's fucking right. Let's go, Toph. You know, like I love her. I would have to say Toph. I think
That's
she's
a good
just
answer.
I want to be her.
No, like that's a great, her storyline is fantastic. Blind girl becomes the world's greatest earthbender. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And my favorite character personally is Prince Zuko. Like the tragic, like I don't like I said, there's a character in it for everybody. Like I don't think there's maybe like a handful of choices where like if you said that this is your favorite character, I'd probably look at you funny. But like most of the cast is like there's a quality about them that like you might be able to see in somebody else. And like the tragic story of Prince Zuko is fantastic. Like watching that whole story arc develop is great. Dante Bosco is a fantastic voice actor. He's done a lot of voice work. If you're familiar with American Dragon Jake Long, like from that same era of
Hell yeah,
television,
yeah.
like he's a fantastic voice actor. I love Sokka. Like I love like the bumbling buffoon, like idiot characters that are like beside
Yes,
themselves.
that comic relief.
Yeah, like I'm a huge comic relief like character person, so like that's like right up my alley. And also, if you're interested, there is a show, on Netflix also called the. Oh my gosh, I have to look this up. I think it's called the. Hold on, it's gonna bother me. I have to look this up real quick. Give me a hot minute, because this is important. I think it's called the Dragon Prince. Hold on, give me a second. Live recording, folks. This is what we do here. The Dragon Prince.
Hey, it's showbiz, baby.
Yeah, so the Dragon Prince.
Dragon Prince.
It is also an Aaron Ehan's vehicle, the guy that created Avatar. It features the voice actor for Sokka is the lead in that show, and like if you like Avatar, like there's a lot of like similar like story beats in there. It's 3 seasons. It's a really easy watch. I watched it at the end of 2019. I really liked it. So I highly recommend checking it out if you're into Avatar, and also watch Avatar. It's great. All 3 seasons are on Netflix. I just finished watching Korra, for the second time technically, because the first time I watched it was actually also this year. I'd never seen it all the way through. It was awesome.
Yeah, that's next. I need to watch Korra next.
Yeah,
for sure.
it's different. Like it doesn't have the same. I'll explain it. We could talk more about it like behind closed doors, like after as you watch it. But it's definitely it's different, but it's phenomenal and it's necessary viewing. So
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of any cartoon with a good storyline, like with good writing. Like I love cartoons. I will watch anything you think is good, Kyle. I got you. I will watch it.
I love that. So so what else have you been up to? What else is what's on your mind? I know you said you were I know you were super gung ho about this, which I appreciate. So is there anything else that because we've been recording for about an hour. So what else?
Has it already been an hour?
Yeah, I know it's crazy. Time flies when
Oh
you're
my
having
God.
fun, right? Like this is what I love about like this is what I love about podcasts, especially because like I have like a great like list of people that I can like call from, because I get to like sit down and like talk to my friends about God knows what, and it's fantastic.
Oh my God, I'm having a great time. Let me see. Something that I watched this year that was kind of like once you experience it, it's like a before and after, like before you knew about it and after you knew about it. Do you know the movie The Room, like the Tommy Wiseau movie The Room?
Yes, I do.
Holy shit. Okay, I had no idea this was a thing, but I watched that in 2020. And again, it was Johan. Shout out Johan. He turned me on to this, and he was trying to tell me without having seen it. He was trying to explain it to me without like any context really, and it's just something that you truly have to actually see to understand. And
Yes.
I apparently this is like a really well-known thing. I had no idea. I didn't know about it at all. And like James Franco made a whole movie about like the background of it or whatever. Like that's something that happened in 2020 that I saw it and I was like, oh my God, this is something that everyone needs to know about.
Yeah, like it's definitely it's a deep cut. Like it's really interesting coming because like you're not as much of a creature of the internet as I am. Even though you still make a great social media follow, I will say that. I'm
Thank you,
I'm
thank you.
but like there, yeah, that's the room has been memed to death. I think every year, I forget what the day specifically was, but Adult Swim would like show the room like on their network. Um, and that's a great deep cut film. I'm trying to think if there's any like crazy movies that. Oh, okay, I can think of one that I actually just watched. For the first time, like all the way through, and you're gonna be shocked because it's a movie of like similar memeability, and that's the B movie.
No, you've never seen the B movie until recently?
No, so let me
I
explain.
mean, it's good for the meme as far as like watching it for enjoyment, like you're not missing much. But to understand the memes, like yeah, it's definitely a need to watch.
Yeah, so like, of course, like if you're not familiar with the B movie, number one, how are you not? It's everywhere. But like it's an animated movie that came out in like I want to say like 2007, maybe. I'll fact check myself as I talk about it, but like, it's an animated movie like featuring Jerry Seinfeld, um, who plays an animated bee. It came out in 2007. Um, it's it's I'm trying to find a way to explain it because like when I'd never seen it before, and like I just knew about it through the memes because I think like 3 years ago, like the meme of like, oh, it's like the B movie but X happens, like was
Yeah.
popping up on YouTube where it's like the B movie but every time they say B, the movie doubles in speed, and like the video,
Yes,
yeah,
yeah.
or like it's so it's so crazy, but like it's Jerry Seinfeld, he plays a bee who like flies out of his like hive for the first time, and like they learn like it becomes like a legal like sort of thing. Renee Zellweger's there as like a pseudo romantic interest, which is weird as a human. Um,
Yep.
like it's so strange, and like
But yeah, if you had to like summarize the whole movie, a bee leaves his hive for the first time, sees honey in a grocery store, and decides to sue humans for stealing honey. And then Renee Zellweger falls in love with Jerry Seinfeld as a bee, and that's the whole movie.
yeah. That's
And
just,
it's like it's as chaotic as that short synopsis sounds.
yeah, it goes places, and there's like actually there's A-list celebrities in this movie. Like Patrick Warburton's in this movie, Chris Rock is in this movie. I'm pretty. Do they actually pen Ray Liotta to play bad Ray Liotta? I'm not
They probably do. I mean, it's
Ray
Jerry
Liotta as
Seinfeld.
himself. Oh my God, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ!
Oh, and
Like
like
John Goodman's in this movie. Like there's so many people that like Matthew Broderick, Simba. Like come on, like
I
it's
know the
insane.
whole thing, and no one questioned it either. We all watched it as kids. Well, I was little when it came out. We all watched it, and I was like, yeah, this is normal. I'm
Yeah,
watching a normal movie. And then you become an adult, you're like, no, it fucking wasn't. That's not a normal concept for a movie at all.
it's so bad. But that was a fun experience. I don't know what else to say except just watch it if you feel like it. Like it's fun background noise. I have nephews that come over, so like they love it. Like my brother watches the B movie. Like he says, I swear 6 times a day, which is insane. And like
I mean, a man of culture, clearly.
that's true. As someone that like when I used to live with my when I used to live with my sister, like for like a few months of my senior year in high school, my nephew at the time was like young, so like he loved Toy Story. So like, and even my current nephews have gone through this phase where like I'd come home and like they just play all three, now four Toy Story movies in succession with each other. So like I'm just forced to like, of course I sit there and watch it because it's Toy Story and like I'm gonna watch it every time it's on. But then I'm just like, God, I'm so sad. Like, why am I doing this to myself every day? Like, what's
Yeah, it's
wrong
like
with me?
emotional turmoil watching Toy Story. I think I've seen it once and I was like, I need to mentally prepare myself to see that again. So like I just haven't I haven't watched it again.
Which one? The fourth one?
Fourth one, whatever one they almost get burned to death in an
Oh,
incinerator.
that's Toy
That's the one
Story
I was
3.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the one I was like, damn, this is maybe I should hold off for a bit before I
So
watch this
funny.
movie again.
I'll tell this quick story before we wrap things up here for the episode. But uh, my story with Toy Story 3, I watched it in theaters the week it came out. I think. I knew nothing about what was gonna happen because like it's nowadays it's like way harder to like avoid movie spoilers because social media is is rampant, and like people just don't care, and it sucks. But
Yeah, it's true.
so like this is a time before like I think Twitter was like a super popular thing. I wasn't really on like social media that much because I was a sophomore in high school, like duh, why would I be? But I went to go see the movie in theaters with my friends, and like spoiler for a movie that came out like 11 years ago, by the way, so don't get mad at me, internet. There's the incinerator scene where like Woody, Buzz, and like all of Andy's toys end up at a junkyard, and they are slowly moving towards an incinerator, and like the music is intense, and like you don't know what the fuck's gonna happen, and like I am weeping in my seat in the theaters. I was freaking out, and then obviously the toys don't burn to death because they get saved by the aliens, and the movie ends. Andy gives his toys to Bonnie. And that whole scene is like it fucked me up. Like I was just being kicked while I was down for the last 20 minutes of that movie, and it just like it made me feel a certain way. So like the movie ends, and I get up out of my seat, and like there's still like tears in my eyes, and like I'm waiting for my friends like outside of like the bathroom or something, and like this guy looks over me. He's like, "Did you just see Toy Story?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yo, man, come here," and we hugged.
That's amazing.
This random man is like, "Yo, man, it's okay. It's gonna be all right." Like I've never like I don't even know what this guy's name was. I don't remember what he looks like. I just remember that me and a stranger embraced each other after watching our childhoods almost crash and burn in front of us. And then they made a fourth movie, which I have feelings about, but I'll save that for another day. But
yeah, no, because that one scene where they're literally in the incinerator and they look at each other and hold hands and they just accept their fate. You're watching it and you're like, did I come to the right movie? Like, is this a children's movie? Are they actually just going to get burned alive right now? And then, of course, they get saved, and you're like, oh my God. And then Andy gives away all of his toys, and then it's just a different kind of pain, and you're like, oh my fucking God. Like, I came in here to have a good time,
Is there another movie that made you feel like that? Like a movie that just like made you like, even if you watch it now, like besides Toy Story 3, like it still makes you cry? Like, is there a movie that gets you like that?
Oh, this is like not in the Disney realm at all. But every single time I watch Moonlight, I will bawl my eyes out crying. Every single time. Oh my God. Also, these are my two favorite movies of all time. Have you ever seen Cinema Paradiso?
I have not actually.
Oh, Kyle. Oh, bitch. You need to watch Cinema Paradiso. It is so good. It's an Italian movie. It's all in subtitles, but it's really not a big deal. You don't notice after a while. And it's like an Italian Forrest Gump. And the ending, I'm not going to spoil the ending for you, but the first time I watched it in my film class in college. And let's just say like that it wasn't the setting to just be like ugly crying, but I was. Like I couldn't hold it back. I was in my classroom just like weeping, and no one else was. And I'm like, are you all made of stone? How did you not cry? It's incredible. I highly, highly recommend it.
It's funny you mentioned you act as if subtitles bother me as if I don't watch anime. Like, come on.
That's so true. I should have known better, but it's great. It's really, really great. You need to watch it tonight and then let me know how you like it.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna do that because I'm in the midst of doing my 100 movies for the first time challenge this year. Because my friend did that last year. He watched 100 movies he's never seen, and like now I'm gonna do the same thing because I'm unoriginal. So I've I think I've watched 5 movies this year that I'd never seen before. So I'm gonna add a 6th one to the list later, but we're gonna be getting out of here in a second. So number one, thank you for sitting down and talking to me about this, because number one, you're one of my favorite people, and number two, like it's really weird. Like it's I don't know how you feel like about being I've never like asked other people like if it's weird for them that like I am so famous, because it feels like a vain question to ask. Because I'm number one, I use the term famous very like ironically, but like it's definitely like not a normal question for your friend to just ask you to appear on a podcast. So thanks for entertaining.
But you know what? I feel like a more important person having known you, so that's good. And like I this might like really feed your ego, so like keep this in mind. But when I was down in Florida, there was this actually it was one of my really good friends. I was like,
oh my God, I forgot about this. Holy crap.
Yeah. I did let you know, didn't I? Yeah.
Yeah. Go tell the story.
And my good friends, one of my good friends, I was like, he was talking about how he plays Smash Bros, and I was like, Oh, do you like listen to the? I don't even fucking know how it works, but like, I guess you watch it live or something. And I was like, do you know the commentator Koopa? And he was like, oh yeah, I totally know him. I'm like, oh shit, I went to prom with him. So he knew who you were all the way down in Florida. So
Oh my
if that
God.
doesn't make you considered at least D-list famous, I don't know what does.
I like completely forgot about that. Oh man, that serotonin's gonna get me through the rest of the day. Like
Hell yeah, I'm happy to help.
that's awesome. So I know that you know we established that you're not a huge social media person, but so like, where can the people find you at? Because I still think you're a great social media follow.
Only on Twitter. Twitter's where I have the most fun. It's NardoAM, NARDOAM. I post a lot of dank memes and mostly retweets if you're into that.
I'm about it, and I highly recommend it. But Amanda, thank you again for joining me today. I will have you back in the future for sure. This was fun.
Hey, sign me up. I loved it. Thanks so much, Kyle.
No problem. All right, guys, that's going to be it for this episode. This will probably come out the first week of February. I think I might start uploading these weekly. I don't know. Fuck it. It's my podcast. I can do what I want. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for this episode of Koop'd Up. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at KoopaNJ. Follow the show at KoopdUpPod. Email us questions at KoopdUpPod@gmail.com. Let me know what you think, what you want to hear, who you want to hear. And, until then, folks, that's going to be it for us. We will be seeing you guys next time.